Assessing human service organizations in nonprofit program evaluation. The attributes of human service organizations include people as the raw material to be worked with. Moral values guide the service process. Morals must be legitimized by the unique environment. Focus on doing no harm to clients. Dynamics of cultural competency and diversity of community must be assessed for and met. Client-worker relationships are at the core of human service work. You identify the focal organization by searching for cultural artifacts. You ask what is the history and goal of the organization, what is the mission of the organization. You want to learn about the organizational domain, what is the identity of the organization, who are the clients, what are the resources and funding avenues. You assess the organization's environmental relationships by identifying and assessing the relationships with revenue sources. You ask what percentage of funds come from what sources, what are the tax benefits and accounting loopholes, what in-kind resources can be found, like facilities or technology, computers for example. Identify and assess relationships with referral sources and other providers by building relationships with state and federal regulatory bodies. You ask who are organizational competitors and is there a demand for services or is there a surplus of service supply? You assess internal organizational capacity by understanding organizational and program structure. You ask, does organizational structure align with the mission statement and community assessment? You understand management and leadership style. How does organizational hierarchy function? Do employees feel valued or are they assembly lined? How is conflict handled? Then you assess the organization's programs and services. Are organizational practices meeting community expectations? Are policies and procedures clearly outlined? You assess internal organizational capacity, this is continued from the previous slide. You assess personnel, policies, procedures, and practices. Are employee handbooks clear on yearly evaluations, promotions and raise procedures, equal opportunity employment? You assess the adequacy of technical resources and systems, budget management, are resources responsibly allocated, who's making the tough calls, quote unquote. Facilities and equipment, is the building modern and accessible? Is the technology modern and accessible? Information technology and management, you ask, are staff able to document out in the field through laptops or their phones through secure URLs? You assess the cultural competency of the organization, which is very important, by assessing the cultural competency in external relationships. You ask what efforts are made by the organization to stay up to date on community and diversity dynamics. And then you assess whether the internal workings of the organization are diversity friendly by asking questions like, does the organization promote diversity in employees and clients?